Hello. It is much sooner than you thought. And this truck is a mess because I just moved into it. It's actually almost 3 o'clock in the morning. And I just stopped driving. So essentially the way day one went, I got to the terminal at 9 this morning. The guy that was supposed to sign me a truck called in sick. And the guy who was covering for him was in meetings. So I didn't actually get a truck assignment until 10:30. Then they accidentally assigned me a flatbed truck, so they had to unassign me that truck and then give me 4 other trucks to go find and pick out which one I wanted. There was one Volvo that I couldn't even find. There was an automatic Freightliner and there was an 8-speed Freightliner. I went with the 8-speed. There was a blue Volvo too, and it was actually really nice. It had big windows on the sides instead of these little vent things, which you can't even see because it's too dark. But yeah, there's no windows in here except for the ones way up there that you still can't see because of whatever. And it had, instead of, as you can see, there's a bed here, and then there's another bed up there on the wall that folds down. This bed in the other truck was actually a seat over there and a seat right here, and then space where I'm sitting in the middle. So it was, it was like seats, like you could put a table in the middle or something, and then you would sleep up there. So I thought about taking that truck, but the shifter, which you can't actually see because it's so dark in here, which is not actually that dark, my phone just thinks it is, but there's a thing on the shifter that shows you what the shift pattern is, and that thing had someone put like some custom cover on there with some kind of like a star with a blue thing. So I didn't know if it was an 8-speed or a 10-speed, and I could drive a 10-speed if I really had to, but I've been driving an 8-speed since I started with my mentor, and that's what I took my CDL test in, and that's what we had in Memphis. So the only place I drove a 10-speed was like the 10 hours that I did in Wisconsin. So I really didn't want to do that, and I probably could have checked, found out if it was an 8 or 10 by talking to the shop or talking to the people inside, but I just figured I was in a Freightliner too, that's the thing, 8-speed Freightliner, that's what I've been in, so that's what I took. It's got almost 500,000 miles on it, so I figure if it's kind of a piece of crap, they'll probably pull me out of it soon to send it to Memphis or one of the other training places to die, being abused by like derpingtons that drive off into the ditches and stuff. So yeah, let's see. After that, so I got my truck, put all my stuff in it. We had to make an extra key for it. We had to go through my permit book. We had to get a crash kit, which is essentially a disposable camera and like some cards you hand out to people, and they write like that they witnessed it or whatever. I got my lock here. There's a kingpin lock for if you leave your trailer somewhere so nobody can steal it, and then there's a like normal like master lock type of lock, except it's like way better than one of those master lock ones, and you put that on the back of the trailer so that nobody can get into your trailer. And if you lock the lock right, it's really hard for someone to even get like a cutting wheel or something on it, really. So, and I did put it on right this time, so no one's gonna be stealing whatever I have in the trailer, which is super secret and confidential, and I can't tell you. And I can't tell you where I am either. I mean, I probably could, but I don't want to get in trouble for revealing secret information. So, got all that stuff, and then, let's see, I had to talk to my driver leader, and like go through some stuff with them, and then they had assigned me a load to New York, but it was due at a really weird time where it wouldn't work with the hours that I had available. Since I'd been up since 9, it was due like the 13th at 1 a.m., which, unfortunately, now with how I'm sitting time-wise, it would have actually worked out fine because it's 3 in the morning and I just stopped driving. So I could be there at, 1 a.m. now. But, oh well. I'm going to somewhere in Massachusetts instead. And that's the problem, is it's 3 in the morning now. I started my sleeper berth at 12:42. So I can't drive till 10:42, and it's due at 2200. Wait. No, it was 2:42 when I started sleeper. So I can't drive till 12:42, and it's due at 2200, which is obviously less than 10 hours after that, and I have around 10 hours of driving left to go. So I'm gonna have to do the macro 22 again and say I'm gonna be late and hope that worst case scenario, they'll be like, well, 10 o'clock is the end of our delivery day, you're gonna have to come in tomorrow morning, which would be like 7 a.m. and I'm gonna be delivering right near the end of my time anyway, so that wouldn't be that bad. And as long as you send in that macro, it doesn't actually count as a late, as long as you have an actual reason. So like, I didn't even go through everything that happened yet. I got that load assignment, the good one, went out to my truck, and I'm missing a permit for New York. So I have to call it the permit thing. I was on hold for about 20 minutes, which isn't terrible, I guess, especially for a Monday. It seems like it's kind of busy on Mondays for everything. But I was on hold for about 20 minutes. It took them about half an hour to fax it over. And while they were faxing it over, I was trying to get one of my drive tandems unstuck. The brakes were frozen. So we tried breaking it loose with my dead blow hammer. It was too big. We couldn't fit it in to like hit on the right part of the brakes. So another guy came over. We used the other hammer, which I should have just got out in the first place. I don't know why I didn't. We ended up getting it unstuck. So then I call the number to say, hey, I'm going to be late, because it's a special kind of load where you've got to like call a certain number when something like that happens. So I say, hey, I'm going to be late. What am I, just FYI. And somehow it came up that I was bobtailing there, and they're like, oh, you can't do that. And it's like, well, my driver leader told me I could. So there was like a thing inside the terminal. They were discussing whether or not I could. They ended up eventually deciding that I could. So there's more and more and more things just kept piling up. I get to the first place, and the gate guard sends me to South Dock. And they're like, oh, it's this trailer, it's not going to be ready till like 8. And I'm thinking, how is it not going to be ready till 8? I'm late picking it up. I was supposed to pick it up at like 5:15. Or no, actually 4:45 at the latest. I was supposed to be there 4:45, and I didn't get there till sometime after 5 o'clock. So I go out and look for the trailer, and it's a Pam trailer. And I don't work for Pam. So I went back inside, and I was like, I just want to make sure I've got the right information, because it's a Pam trailer. I work for not Pam, and they're like, hold on, let me check. And of course, they sent me to the wrong dock. Mine was at the North Dock instead. So, I wasted like 20 minutes there, derping around, driving around the building, having to drive back. Then I had to find the trailer. And then apparently, whoever dropped the trailer, I don't know what they were driving, but the landing gear was so high up that when I backed under it, it wouldn't, like the entire kingpin was above the fifth wheel. The entire thing. So I had to like back up until a little bit of the fifth wheel was under the trailer, and then lower the trailer, like honestly, I think almost 6 inches just so that I could back under it right and actually get the kingpin to lock in place. Then I had to drive to a second pickup location to get another half of a trailer. I get there, and they're like, oh, everyone just went on lunch. We're not going to be able to load you till 8 o'clock. And I think it was like 7 around that time. So I had to go back into a dock, open the doors, take the lock off, all that good stuff. And then, wait for, at least that place, they've got a good system. If the light's green, you can back in, then they turn it red. Once they're done loading, they turn it green again, and then you can go inside, do your paperwork, and then leave. So I did my paperwork, I slid my tandems forward, because they were all the way at the back, and you can't drive like that. I drove like that from the one place to the other place because it was 3 miles, and as far as I understand it, Michigan does not have a kingpin like from the kingpin to the trailer tandems, there's a certain amount of feet, and as far as I can tell, Michigan does not have a rule on that from what my book said. So I figured 3.5 miles, I'm not gonna try to slide them in this icy death yard. So I didn't get out of that second place until probably, I'm thinking 8:30, 8:45, and then I just drove to my first fuel stop. So I go to get fuel, invalid card, and the pump was acting all weird. It kept jumping between screens and like adding in numbers and letters that I wasn't typing. So I went inside, and the lady's like, oh, well, your company, we can't like turn the pump on from inside for you guys, which is weird, but whatever. So I go, she said, it might just be the pump, and I was like, yeah, it might be, because that pump's acting really weird. So I go to the pump next to it, invalid card, and that one was working normal. It was working a lot faster, it went through the screens better and everything. So I tried calling both the numbers for the card. They both went to the same roboid, which had no operator option or anything. Tried calling my terminal, and the after hours thing was being wonky because, it gave me some options, and then it said, if you need something else, press 0, and I do, and it kicks me back to the menu. So I had to call the other number, go through it, and then I was able to actually get to somebody. I was only on hold for a couple minutes, and they're like, oh yeah, your card was deactivated because you took like a week of home time. So apparently if you take more than 3 days of home time, your card is automatically deactivated and you have to reactivate it. So I have to find out what the correct way to do that is, so I don't have to call the 24-hour number in the middle of the night next time I have like extra home time. Which I shouldn't. I don't plan on taking more than 3 days at a time because I'd have to be out for 3 weeks just to get 3 days. So that was here. Then I backed into this spot where I'm sitting right now, which stinks because I backed into it and then I looked behind me and there was an open spot. So the person behind me apparently pulled out like right before I backed in. I could have just done a pull through and been a lazy McGean, but hey, I backed up again. So that's twice I backed up today, and I haven't hit anything, and I've been getting out and looking like I'm supposed to, so I know where the truck is, and I know I'm not running over stuff. So, that's good. It's good I did another backing. But, let's see. Yeah, so, and then I went to the restroom to brush my teeth and whatnot, and I left the Qualcomm on duty. So I think I could go back in and like split that time and make part of it sleeper, but it would gain me like 10 minutes, and that's not really going to be enough to do anything. So I'm just going to do that macro 22 and be like, hey, yeah, I'm going to be late, and then see what they do. Because I'm probably going to actually have to call my driver person, and make sure that they don't want me to do something different, or I don't know what. But, for a first day it wasn't horrible. Oh, that was the other thing. There was snow. there's this big snow pile that's like following me across the earth, and because it was when I was in Michigan, there was no snow plows out or salt or anything. So all the way through Michigan and a little bit of Ohio, I was going like 35. So that turned a 1 hour part of the trip into 2, and that 1 hour right there would get me on time tomorrow. So I'm just gonna have to say, like, hey, you know, bad weather, poor road conditions. Because once I got on the turnpike in Ohio, it was all good. It was slow for a little bit, but then they had salt trucks out, and it stopped snowing, and now it's snowing again. But yeah, I just had a few things working against me today, so it's my first load. I'm sure they'll understand, and I'll do better next time. But probably, well, I don't know, maybe there will be a video tomorrow, because like I'm not tired, so I figured, you know, I've got to do 10 hours of sleeper. I'm not going to sleep for 10 hours. That's physically pretty much impossible for me to do. I never came close to that when I was out with my mentor, so you know, if I make this video right now and I upload it while I'm sleeping, and then I wake up, I'll probably have like an hour of sleeper left, and then I can go and eat some food or something. So that's it. This video is really long, I already know. So yeah, goodbye. Oh my gosh, I can't even